Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. At our ashram yesterday, we had a grand Yugadi celebration, also pronounced as Ugadi. I'm sharing Yugadi because the etymology of this word is Yuga Adi, the beginning of the Yuga. Now, that does not mean that millions of years have passed. What this implies is a new time, a new feeling. I've observed that lots and lots and lots of people know about cultural aspects of such celebrations like Yugadi, Sankranti, etc. But how does one feel this is a new time? How does one generate this new feeling? That people don't know a lot about. The way for this to be a Yugadi, the beginning of a new time, it is only through discipline. All of you who have ever held on to a discipline and followed through with it, you're a different person because of that. Agree? Some of you who have chosen, as an example, to not eat meat. Some of you have chosen to not drink alcohol, etc. If you're holding on and following through with this, I'm positive you feel differently physically, mentally. That is how one celebrates Yugadi, Sankranti, any of these celebrations. Discipline. This is what we try to not just theorize in Meaningful Mornings, but to encourage each other to apply this. Please commence your prayers for the safety of my laptop, my phone, my notes, and my book given to me by Puja Guruji. It was not raining. Now it's raining because that's how life is, and you'll see a verse on that is coming up. In verses 22 to 25, Shri Krishna is sharing differences. In verses 23 to 25, Shri Krishna is sharing differences in terms of those who are filled with laziness, aggressiveness, quietness, in reference to results, in reference to what they're planning for, sharing this in a framework that maybe we can identify with. Those who are filled with tama, or laziness, they are suckers. They operate in no term. They're lazy, they're inactive, they're not doing. So they operate in no term. They have no timelines because they're not doing. Those who are filled with raja or aggressiveness, they are searchers. From suckers to searchers, they operate in the short term. The way they think and speak and act, it's all in the short term. They're impulsive. That's the word I'm looking for. I've been interacting with someone who's, I don't know well, but I'm realizing how impulsive he is. That he's filled with raja. And those who are filled with quietness, they are seekers. They operate in the long term. How they think and speak and act. How they maintain relationships. It's not for the short term, it's for the long term. I'm reading to you an insight from Puja Swami Chinmayananda. Today's Meaningful Mornings is going to be very interesting. Action of this type, tamasic, immediately provides the performer with a substantial dividend of sorrow. Rajasic action comparatively takes a longer time to bring its quota of disappointments and sorrows, while sattvic action is always steady and blissful. Bhagavad Gita's chapter 18 is done with theory. It is all about application. And the way to really apply oneself to come out of tama and into sattva, I suggested yesterday, is to feel that your guide is looking at you. Not generally, but specifically. I'm reading to you an insight. I'm reading to you an insight from a seeker in our community. The trust triangle is my best friend forever, BFF. Best is our guide. When I think about the best of anything, restaurant, movie, sport, there is no doubt that there will be joy out of being immersed in it. Being blessed with a personal relationship with a guide is lifetimes worth of joy. Our guide is the best because without a guide, there would be no access to Gita, God. Friend is our Gita or map. A friend is one who we can turn to feel hope in a seemingly hopeless situation and for confident, clear advice on how to keep moving forward. This is our forever is our God. The ups and downs of too much rain on my computer forever feel less daunting and more comforting knowing that God is looking at and after me. With gratitude, seeker. And then she followed up with, being in easy environments that are inclusive, accepting, loving, like the Cleveland and London communities. I just want to give my resources, time, effort freely without a second thought. I have to pause here. Now I'm concerned my computer is going to break. So, all of you, please chant Om Namah Shivaya as I try to shift in a disciplined way into a better environment. We are continuing into verse 26. So here we go. Anubandham kshayam himsam anaveksha cha paurusham. Oops, we already chanted that. We're in verse 26. Why not? Joy. Mukta sango naham vadi dhrityutsaha samanvitaha siddhya siddhyor nirvikaraha karta sattvika uchyate. I'm in the first quarter. I apologize, I'm in the fourth quarter. I don't know why you join Meaningful Mornings. Who knows where my brain is right now? So in the fourth quarter, uchyate, what is being taught? Karta. We're shifting from jnana, karma, now karta. From knowing to result to doer. Sattvika, the doer who's filled with quietness. Now in the third quarter. Siddhya or asiddhya. Whether they are successful or unsuccessful, nirvikara, they are unshaken. That is a strong sign of someone who's no longer the deserver. And how did it happen? Because as the doer, they're still the doer, but this doer is very close to being the observer, the beer. I was sharing in our Thursday class what the word vada means. Vada technically means to talk, but the reflective point is, when one is engaged in a vada, it is not about who is right, but what is right. The what is more important than the who. And I share that because often those who are the deservers, it is about them being right rather than what is right. In which case, they're very much shaken by success and failure. Is that clear to everyone? Now in the second quarter, samanvitaha, they are filled with dhriti and utsaha. Technically, dhriti means firmness and utsaha means enthusiasm. But I'm connecting this back to what we've already studied. In Bhagavad Gita's chapter 6, which is on contemplation, after Sri Krishna shares his insights and he senses Prince Arjuna is struggling, he says to be able to contemplate, two qualities are needed: nishchaya and anirvinna. Nishchaya means determination. Anirvinna means, I'm going to give you the technical definition first, non-dejection. That is a unique quality, but shared in the positive, it is inspiration. An inspired person, you can't stop them. At most, you can slow them down, but you can't stop them. They're not stopping themselves, so nobody else can stop them. And now the most potent part of this verse is in the first quarter. Anaham vadi. Vadi means this feeling when they talk. Anaham, it is not about aham. Ego, separation, I. And because of that, mukta sangha, as they go about living, chapter 18 is about living, there is no attachment. There is no projection. There is no forgetting. They have not forgotten divinity, so they don't project joy outside of themselves, and that's why they don't get attached. Neither to the future or the present, as in not to deservership, not to doership. I am going to read to you two really powerful statements that Pujya Swami Chinmayananda has written about, and then we'll complete this morning. He sincerely feels that he has not done anything spectacular, even when he has actually done the greatest good to mankind, because he surrenders his egocentric individuality to the Lord through his perfect attunement with the infinite. It is that humility that leads to this awesomeness. So I'm reading the second paragraph now. He is one who has no clinging attachment to the things and beings around, as he has no such false belief that the world outside will bring to him a desirable fulfillment of his existence. The one who's filled with quietness is, I'm going to use poor English here, but quieter equals totaler. They're living at the total level. So there's no sense of doership, no sense of deservership. That is moksha, being free. From inspiration to application. Your application yesterday was to think of 3 ways that you act out of fear. How many of you engaged in this? By show of hands. One way I've observed, I don't think I act out of fear. I don't think. But one way I've observed people who act out of fear, but they don't really realize it, is those who are materialistic. How is this acting out of fear? They don't feel inner security, so they project. Outer security will facilitate that inner security, so they start to depend on the materials, which means they're materialistic. Having materials and depending on materials are such a different paradigm. So if you find you're a materialistic person, I would infer it is because you're acting out of fear. Your application this morning is for you to reflect on Vada. Your relationships, how you interact with people, is it about you being right? Or, I don't know how to describe it, life being right? 1 is it's always about you being right. 100 is you're willing to give up you for the sake of life. That would be 100. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti hi, Iju.